Greetings, Patrick here. And yeah, we're about 15 minutes late, or different as our normal start time is. But I'm Patrick from Eight Questions With. Welcome to the last show of the week. Uh, we'll be talking with singer-songwriter, actor Brian Elder. Will be here shortly, about 15 minutes or so. Yeah, he had to come in from work. So he says, "Hey, is there any way we could do this a little bit, push it back a little bit?" Not a problem. We do that. We can work with people with that because sometimes it's a difference. Sometimes 30 minutes can be the difference between getting a show with a guest and not. So one of the things that we have learned is to be flexible. So we're glad to have Brian. We've talked to Brian on the print. He's one of the 130 that we have done. We did our print interview, and so he's one of the originals, one of the OGs. All right. Well, I thought maybe today would be a little bit more brighter. Uh, Brother Max is in the house. All right. What's going on, Brother Max? Hopefully you guys will stick around for today. Great show yesterday. With Alina Desmond. What a sweetheart. Very, very cool young lady. Really enjoyed talking to her. Has a hell of a head on her shoulders. And yeah, it was a lot of fun yesterday. And thanks to everybody who came out and supported the show. I appreciate that. Let's see. Oh, Brian, let's see. Anthony just said that he just had an interview today and it went well. All right. It's good news, Anthony. Good news indeed. So yeah, we're still working hard here, getting ready for next week. Next week's shows are coming up pretty soon. Um, it looks interesting on paper. I'm really anxious to get here. We have the Gross Brothers will be back talking about Gross Fest, one of the terrific convention promoters out there, and this will be they're going to come by and give us an update on how where Gross Fest is at for 2025. Super happy to hear from them. We're going to talking about conventions and like I mentioned yesterday, it seems like conventions now they just seems to the prices seem to be going through the roof. Very, very expensive to go. What used to be a very affordable thing to go is now turning into like almost like a college event. It's starting to cost over $100 if you really think about it. If you go through 3 days or 2 days, or you get a VIP ticket, you could be looking at over $100 worth of at a convention. I remember when I first started going, me and my buddy Farm Boy, it was $5 parking and I think $10 to $12 to get in. And so it was basically $17 to get in. The guests that they had there, the prices were very reasonable as far as autographs go, and you didn't have to get an autograph or package. I mean, if you couldn't afford it and the guest was nice, um, they would actually do a picture, a video, or take a picture. Um, they weren't sitting there saying you can't take my picture without paying for it or getting or doing a package deal. Basically, it's just gone really expensive. Uh, Even the prices have shot up too. So, I mean, I understand some of that has to do with their own tables rising. Even Tom, the Gross Brothers have mentioned that the vending prices, while the door prices have stayed the same, the vendors' prices gone up a little bit, and that's but it's not an arm and a leg. It's not going like, well, we'll charge you $100 this year. This year it's going to cost you $250. No, they're not doing that. They're looking at that. Hey, we're just covering our costs the hotel, where we're at, it might have asked us for another $30. Well, we'll just go ahead and, we'll just, since we're all benefiting from this, we'll all pay in a little extra in for it as well. And vendors get good tables and great promotion and a good event with a lot of people, which is what our vendors want. If you tell vendors, what do you want? What do you expect from a convention? They'll tell you that it's people. They want the crowd. That's where they make their money at. They make their money off the crowd. Um, they know they're fighting against a lot of different things going on at the same time at a convention. Whether it be cosplaying contest, trivia contest panels, special autograph sessions. There's a ton of distractions to the dollar, calling for your dollar. And if you're a vendor and you're sitting back there and maybe not such a great spot, and you're not getting seen or talked to, the crowd's going right by you, the flow's going right by you, and you get forgotten. A lot of times you're really losing money at the end of the weekend because it costs money. Hey Corey, how are you, sir? How are you? Welcome in. Welcome in. We're talking about conventions right now. The high cost of conventions this year, and if people are still planning to go out to them, there are some really good conventions going on here, and yeah, and like Gross Fest that are very family friendly, very collectible friendly, and we definitely want to support them. We just definitely want to support them as much as we can. All right, Tuesday we'll see Robert Lasardo will be coming in. Um, yes, high cost of everything. What's going on, Jeff? How are you, sir? How are you? Uh, See, never been to one. Though I thought of trying to go to a few smaller ones around me this year. Yeah, I mean, even the small ones, the prices have gone up high. I mean, not everyone, obviously, but some of them do. And it's everybody seems to think that running a convention is as really easy. I think they see the dollar bill signs. They see that, wow, if I do a convention in a little area, I can charge all this money and and get all these stars in, and it's very time consuming, hard work. Uh, I worked on two street fairs, and let me tell you, um, it's hard. It's very hard to try to attract a big crowd like that. I know a lot of people are, and you're right about the prices. The prices are going up this year. Going up. One thing I didn't mention, but I'll mention it now. Um, Probably, because normally at this time, my guess would have been I would have been having a guest in by now to talk about the summer convention season, and that was Nightmare Toys based out of Las Vegas. Most of for the last couple of years, I had Christy Adams come on, and we talked about Nightmare Toys was and how the conventions were, and what people were expecting to see, and were they going down the Texas Frightmare? Um, but unfortunately, it looks like that Nightmare Toys is no longer with us. Not as a brick and mortar store. It is no longer with us. I don't know the details. I just know that the store is closed, and people were out there trying to scam other people on Instagram, saying that they were part of the Nightmare Toys, and people could get discounted goods from them, but it turned out to be a scam. The scam isn't at the store. The store is gone. The store is gone. Um, I haven't talked to Christy in a while. I had a feeling something was going off when she was supposed to go on vacation, and then when she came back, she never went back on. She never really went back on social media. I think she got rid of all. She has her friends for social media friends, but she, as far as the Nightmare Toy Store is going, that wasn't happening anymore. So I just, I didn't know if that was because she just decided to take behind the scenes, or more behind the scenes. I still don't know. I just know that the store is closed, and I'm really sad about that. I'm really am sad that happened to them. I think they had a great concept, um, but I think part of it had to do with the mom and pop stores. They have to go to war basically against the big vendors to get them to service them, and a lot of those places like NECA, they they just basically step on the small mom and pop owners. Why am I hassling? Why am I dealing with you for 40 NECA figures when I can, when I'm trying to sell tens of thousands through Walmart and Target? So you'll have to wait, even though we want you to pay us for your we want you to pay us for the models we're going to send you, but it's going to be up to us when we send you those models. Well, stores can't operate like that, unfortunately. Uh, if you place an order and they say, well, it's going to take 3 months for it to be made. Okay, well, I'm going to place my order so in 3 months from now I should be able to get it and I should be able to put it on the shelf. But when the company doesn't do that, and all these other folks that are especially the ones doing pre-order, when they're all of a sudden they're finding out that, hey, it's been like 3 months since I placed my order. It's been 6 months. Where is it? And nobody knows where it's at. That's a lot of stress to put on a small business. um, hopefully, we'll be able to talk to Christy sometime soon. I'd like to, if she's up to it and she wants to talk about it, then I like that. But I know she's okay. I see her on her social media. She looks happy. And I do think that they are going back to where they used to be. Like I said that the store is closed, but not the business. The business itself, I believe, is still up and running. It's mail order business. You order through a website. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's what they were doing before they went to Vegas. They were doing that in Alabama. They were selling collectibles through mail order through in Alabama before they moved to Vegas. Um, Man, I'd like to know what happened. I mean, I'm just thinking to myself, going like, man, Las Vegas. I mean, what a well, right now, this seems to be the place to be. Vegas is very, very popular right now. It's a combination of tourist town and a sports town, entertainment town, and just really, it should have been that should have been it should have been a lock. It should have been a lock. Uh, you know, I mean, hopefully not every vendor would do that to them, but I'm saying hopefully they would have had enough stuff there. I mean, because to me, they had a lot of activities going on at that store. I mean, they did. They had signings, autograph sessions. They sold exclusive merch. Um, they had a great social media presence. I mean, a great social media presence. Those guys worked it. They were very good at social media, whether it be the two different podcasts they had on during the week, one with Christy by herself, one with the rest of the crew, showing, talking about the different movies they saw, and it just should have popped. But all right, so and like I said, Robert Lasaro's coming in on the 6th. Um, he'll be here talking about his new movie, American Trash. That'll be really good. It's gonna be a very interesting interview. I'm very looking forward to this. Uh, let's see. I just got pinged. 45. Oh, yeah, it's a big window. Uh, yeah, okay. I got nothing to do. So we pinged up. Our guest is gonna be here about 9 o'clock. He says he's got to run. He's running behind because of class. It's okay. You know what? We'll talk. You can hear me for talk for a little bit. So Robert Lasardo coming in, and like I said, he's got his own new movie coming out, American Trash. To be a very interesting interview. And I'm looking forward to it. He was one of the Grail guests I've had on my list. Someone who I really, really wanted to talk to, and now I'm going to get a chance to do that. And I really hope that you guys will come in and hang out with us for that. Um, it's really fun when you do get a Grail guest. I was thinking about Gareth from yesterday, and thank you again, Gareth, for the kind words. I was happy to shout you out. Um, that's a great guest. In fact, I'll talk about it again. Uh, Gareth from Video Tasties had Brian Thompson on his show yesterday. Terrific show. Great turnout too. Great turnout. Over you guys had like a 20, like between 20 and 22, 23 people on the chat. That's awesome. That's how it should be. It should be like that plus more, especially when you get the quality of guests that Gareth gets. He goes for the much bigger names than I do per se. Um, but you guys are starting to show up for that, and because it's hard. It's hard to get a guest like that in there. And so Gareth worked his ass off, came out there, got Brian Thompson in there, terrific guest. Um, Man, I mean, that's the kind of guest, that's a Grail guest for me too. If someone says, "Hey, how would you like a chance to talk to Brian Thompson?" I say whatever time you need, let's do it. So it was amazing to see that, and to get a Grail guest. I'm sure Gareth was sitting over there going like, "Hell yeah, this is awesome," because I was thinking about that watching it. So that's how it's going to be with me on Tuesday. I got Robert Lasardo. Uh, and that guy has done so many movies, and you have seen him just about everything: horror, action, crime drama, thrillers, mysteries. You name it, you've seen Robert Lasardo, whether you realize it or not. But you've seen him. And once you see him on Tuesday, you're gonna be going like, "Oh yeah, I've seen that guy in just about everything," which is a testament to him and his talent. Um, he'll be here on Tuesday. In fact, yesterday, um, yesterday when we were talking to filmmaker Austin Gallant, he told me off camera that he is actually making a movie with Robert. He says, I cast him. I'm going to be working with him here, and it was just like that was so cool. I mean, he's just I said he's sort of like maybe like the new he's like the new Robert Tony Todd or Eric Roberts, just rock solid. Everybody wants him to work on their project. I mean, the guy has. I mean, his phone just rings off the hook. Oh, it is raining today. Raining cats and dogs. I'm gonna go out and get myself a new cat. Uh, so he'll be here and talking about his movie American Trash. That'll be fun. And then on Wednesday, we will be talking with who are we talking with on Wednesday? Oh, that's right, Joe Leon, Joe Remy. Um, yeah, that will be from Greet Your Demons. They'll be here on Wednesday, and that will be a great show as well. Um, that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. We'll be able to take some time off in May. We'll come back after. We're going to come back maybe like the last week of May or whatever, maybe even June. I'm just going to take some time off. I'm going to take some time off the latter half of May. I'll come back in June. Nothing big going on. Just need a little bit of quiet time. And I know I just did that, right? But I need a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and take some time off here in May. And then we'll come back at it. And yeah, we'll pick it up and have some fun. So, all right. Let us see what is up. Oh yeah, I should mention this too. In fact, let me put this up. So Brian Elder is I put one of Brian's songs in the I put one of Brian's songs in the description box. So Brian Elder is a singer-songwriter. He identifies as a Christian singer-songwriter. And it's funny is I actually put that I'm actually promoting the show, and I went to a page of the club. It was just like a memory page of the club I used to work at called Marsugis, and I put some shows there. Especially if there's a musical artist, I'll post there as far as promotion goes. And but I always post. I always do that. So I posted Brian's. The show with Brian. I posted it on there, and it was sort of strange since I got a ping off that. I don't get too much traffic there, comments there. um, I got a ping from somebody who sat there and said, "Well, I can't see this happen. I couldn't see this playing at Marsugi's. I couldn't see this." And he's like, and he mentioned a couple of rock bands, and he says, I expect to see something like this." And I commented back because I needed to let him know that, hey, Marsugi's was well known for playing every genre. It really did. It pretty much played every genre. Um, Maybe not. I mean, we played rock and roll bands in there. Hell yeah, I booked some rock and roll bands in there. I certainly did. Um, Not everything that we ever booked at Marsugi's was punk rock. Um, some people book punk. My friend Eagle Bucket, he booked jazz and blues when he had Marsugi's when he was booking there. That's what he put in there. He put in jazz and blues acts in there. When I first took it in, when I got my first night, I did folk pop, folk and folk rock, and we did acoustics. We did that, and hey, it's 9:30 a.m. there in Japan. That's right. That's right. I'm still waiting for pictures of you and Gigan. Still waiting. Still waiting. I want to see a picture of you and you and Gigan. I want to see some arm wrestling pictures. Um, Lots of pictures. Take lots of pictures. That's for sure. When are you scheduled to come back, sir? Never. Never. I'm staying here. Man, that's a long trip from Great Britain to Japan. Damn, that's long. No, I wonder how did you get to Japan? Did you fly? Wow, that's a good question. How did you fly over there? I mean, because I'm not. I mean, I guess, do you fly over Russia? Do you fly over China? Uh, I mean, that's interesting. Or you fly over the United States? You fly over the U.S. on the way to Japan? That's a long trip. At Marsui's, we booked, like I said, we booked everything. Um, of course, we did punk rock, we did industrial, we did. Um, I think the only thing that we never did, the one genre that we never did hip hop. We did blues, we did jazz, we did country. We did do country. Uh, uh, um, Good evening, Stephen. Our guest will be here shortly. He is running a tiny bit late, but I thought we'd go ahead and just kick it and and chat with him. He'll be here at 9 o'clock. Um, so um, so I put Brian's music down there, and I listened to a single, "Passenger Side." It's great. It's a great song. And While I personally have my own personal feelings about so-called Christian rock. Um, it's like, but I still I like I like country. I like country music, so that's fine. Um, I don't really know about today's state of country. It seems to be more pop oriented than, like they're not really telling stories. It seems more straight, more like pop rock or along that lines. And say what you will about Taylor Swift. I'll tell you one thing I really do appreciate about Taylor Swift is that, yes, she did make her career on country music. She did. Um, but but when she said that she was pretty much leaving to do pop, she did that. She didn't. She wasn't doing. She did not do it halfway. Uh, she said that this is what I'm making the break, and I'm going to do pop music, and that's what she's done. Um, I know the thing with Beyonce. I know that people really are frosted about that. The personally, I just between you and me, I can't stand that third in the third person type of act that somebody always goes through. Whether it be Beyonce or the one who did Chris Gaines. Oh God, the biggest country male superstar. He did that too. Garth Brooks. He came out with a persona. Chris Gaines. Uh, and there's been other people that have come out with a third person. I can't stand that shit. Just Cowboy Carter. What is that supposed to be? It's you. It's Beyonce. This is what you're doing. It's just it's okay to experiment. You don't need to come up with a goofy name to come up there to experiment. Garth Brooks, he used Chris Gaines to rock it out, to make a rock record. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to do something different than just the country that people were expecting him to do. He wanted to flex his creative muscle. That's fine. You can go ahead and do that, underneath Garth Brooks. Do that underneath Beyonce Knowles. I don't think you need to come up with a persona. Just and as far as her wanting to do that to sing country, why not? Why not? People are all bent out of shape about that. About what? As if she's venturing into doing country. Well, hell, you got Post Malone, who was a failed rapper. He's doing country. You got Kid Rock, who ended up doing rock country. He got there on hip hop. He did hip hop, and then he went southern rock. Personally, he made a big mistake. Personally, his early stuff is his best by far. I mean, the stuff that he puts out now. um, who else? A Jelly Roll guy, I think his name is Jelly Roll guy. I think he was some sort of. I think he was supposed to be some sort of hip hopper or whatnot. He failed it. Nobody really listening to him, so he went country. Um, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. Jennifer Nettles, she did country. She was a rock girl. She was a rock and roll girl, and then she went country because that was her only way getting in. She couldn't get in other than became a part of a cookie cutter act. They put her act together and they threw her on the road, and then her voice. That's the only way for her to get her voice out there. Once people heard her voice, she pretty much sealed her ticket. She could do whatever the hell she wants. Um, but you have to get through the door first. So and there's been other singers out there that have crossed paths. You got duets all the time. You look at Lady Gaga. She did a duet with Tony Bennett. I mean, that doesn't mean that Tony Bennett's a rock star, nor does it mean that Lady Gaga is a crooner. It's just that they did some things differently, and that's all right. Uh, no, but you know what? We will mention that, Stephen, that you do karaoke. And actually, we'll see what Brian feels about that. Um, Karaoke is definitely. I have not kept up with karaoke, so I'm not sure how popular still is. Um, I know for a while there that karaoke was pretty big. Um, I guess I know I've seen some karaoke's here on YouTube. I know that it's a risky. I mean, it's risky to do karaoke on here because it's a copyright issue. Um, and you could do karaoke. You could say you're doing karaoke, um, but YouTube might frown upon that. I'm not sure how it goes. I don't have anybody doing karaoke on here or doing cover songs. I don't do that. It's either you do original music or we can't do it. I'm not going to risk. I'm not going to risk losing the channel because I'm playing pop music, or somebody else's music, even if it is karaoke style. Um, that's because the YouTube just doesn't know what it's doing. Okay. Yeah, of course, so we'll be talking with, like I said before, we'll, mention about the Marsugi's aspect, about the, having the various genres on there. And I like to sort of think that we do that here, with here as well. That's why I put it on there. I could have just put singer, songwriter, actor Brian Elder, but he's a Christian singer. He sings Christian music. So that's why I gave him the credit, and the respect. Now, and I listened to it. I got his link in the description. If you want to zip in there and listen to Passenger Side, it's on there. He's got his channels on there as well. His YouTube channels on there. We'll be putting out his Instagram on there a little bit later. Uh, but go ahead and check him out, and give him a support. All right. Uh, so he will be here in about 10 minutes or so. Our friend Eric from Hey Internet, it's Eric. He is going to be doing a show on Sunday at 1 o'clock. I should go ahead and drop the link in there. He is doing a show with his friend Alex on Sunday, and I love that guy. I love him like a brother. He is such a great guy, and so they're doing a show. Um, which is really interesting is that Eric and Alex, and I'm wondering if this is going. I'm wondering if this is going to go flip around. But basically, Alex is talking to Eric about his life. It's like things that have happened to him in his life, and basically, it's just he's talking about his life in a public forum. Um, and he's already done one show with that, and so he's got another one coming up here, um, where he's going to be doing that as well. Let me see if I can find this. I want to go ahead and plug it. Uh, okay, so I'm going to put the link down here. Now I'm not sure if this is. I don't like I said. I'm not sure this is interesting to me. So here it is right here. You guys can go over and check this out. Okay, so this comes out on Sunday at 1 o'clock, and he's talking about his life and growing up. And now I'm not sure if Eric's going to be doing that with Alex. Like will he turn around and interview Alex and see what Alex came through up and through. It's an interesting concept, to talk to. We talk to interview friends, um, but some of us go a little deeper in some of the interviews, but most of the time it's something that we wouldn't think about doing, like talking about our deep issues, like our upbringing and talking with a friend and then putting it up online. Um, it's, it's a, you know, it's brave. It's one thing. It's brave. I mean, you're sitting there, you're exposing yourself, you're sharing yourself, like you hear people's story and you look at them a whole different way. It's like, maybe you lost your parents, maybe you lost a sibling, maybe you've had, some severe bumps and bruises. And to get out there and just to talk about it. And it's a recorded show, by the way. So it won't be live, which is I think probably be a good thing that way. Because if you're live and you have a moment, you don't want to have a moment on live, if you can help it. Not to say it's a bad thing, but like I I'm anxious to see how it works, and if it works, because they've done it once before, and I listened to it, and I thought it was really good. It explains a lot of who he is, who Eric is, and where he got his moral values. I've said this many, many times about Eric. The one thing I really appreciate about him, and I can tell you one thing growing up, watching him, without knowing about this, I know that he's never tolerated bullies. Whether it had been somebody else bullying him or he saw somebody getting bullied or whatever it was, he does not put up with that shit. He does not put up with that shit. Uh, um, so I know that much, and it'll be. I'm not sure if he talked about that the first time or not. Uh, but it'll be interesting if they cover it this time. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be a really good show, and can't wait to hear it. Uh, and Yeah, I think I have nothing but respect for Eric for opening up and sharing that. I mean, it's a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to do. Um, yeah, it seemed like we've had some bumps and bruises here in the community as of late. Our friend Katie lost her fiance, and then a guy who I didn't talk to him very much. Uh, uh, um, Ron, I think Ron's Adventures. Uh, there, I should know this. I didn't talk to him a whole lot. I know that he's up all night. I mean, he had like insomnia. It was like, and I think his nickname was basically Trouble because that's what he always put down, Trouble. So I always thought, well, that's an interesting nickname. So it was funny. It's like I see him all the time late at night. I mean, he'd be up for a couple hours and people be rolling in there at 1 or 2 in the morning. And it was like an insomnia central. The one thing I just noticed, I noticed though when I saw him that he was just sitting in a cloud of smoke. He was he pretty much loved the smoke, and he would sit there and he talk and keep it going and it's just like I said, I didn't know him that much. I saw him on other people's channels. I say hello and whatnot. We have sub to each other's channels. Um, and I noticed that he had disappeared. Like I hadn't seen him do any of his lives in like 2, 3 weeks. And as soon as you see that, as soon as you notice that, like all of a sudden, like so and so dropped off the planet. Um, and it was like it's like what happened? What is he all right? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, then you find out that he had passed. He had been he had cancer. Wow. I said, well, that sort of explains a lot to me. It's like because I'm sitting there watching this guy like chain smoke, and I'm like, man, that guy smokes a lot. He's like a train. Well, he was dying. He was dying. He was it was like well, why am I because I've heard doctors say this like uh, uh um people have quit smoking and they get cancer and they're going like you know and then they'll smoke they'll start smoking again because it's like what the hell, why not, because a lot of people actually like it, and so it's like, okay, well, if I'm going to die, I might as well just go out doing something that I like. So he liked talking to his friends and enjoying doing a smoke, and it made sense. Like, okay, he knew his time was running short. I don't think he was expecting it to quite run so short, but it does happen. Um, and so yeah, he went out on his own terms. He went out on his own terms. It's like I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm sorry I didn't talk to him more. He sounded like he was an interesting fella. I'm still sub to his channel, so I'll probably go back and listen if he made playlists. I should go back there and listen to it. Maybe this. And so right after that, uh, I get a ping from Lady Valerie, who scared the shit out of me. Lady Valerie did. Got a ping saying, ping saying that I just got some terrible news. I'm like, and I was like, oh boy, I'm like, okay. I thought it was for somebody else. The way she said it, I thought something had happened to somebody else that I knew. But it turned out that it was a person who, sad to say, and was just one of those things. Just one of those things. There's a guy named Jason who was on the channel, who was here in the community. He was known as Jason the Nice One. He was based in New York, and he was a nice guy. Uh, he was a nice guy. What I knew. I mean, he was a nice guy. Um, and he's even on the show once. I had him on the show, and so I interviewed him. He had an interesting background. He had a very interesting background, and I know that he had the last time I had seen him in one of our groups, he was commenting that he was having trouble with his internet, and then he just vanished. That was it. It's like, okay, never saw his channel. Never, he was never on again or anything. And it's like, okay, well, you don't really think about that too much. I personally thought that he had moved on to a different platform. I thought he had moved on to TikTok or Twitch or whatever, and many, whatever platform he chose. And I was like, oh, okay. What was sad about it is, it's like sometimes not everything is perfect in YouTube. I mean, sometimes we bump noses with people. I mean, you know, I can tell you that from experience. I don't get along with everybody. I mean, anybody who says that they do, well, that's amazing, because you'll be the first person I know, that because everybody I know, friends of mine here on the tube, they have had clashes with people throughout. There hasn't been anybody who's not had a clash that I know of, and it didn't start. It never starts that way. I mean, for the most part, and I mean, it has happened that way, but that's rare. Most of the time, it's somebody you already know, and then during down the line, you'll crisscross somebody's lines, and sometimes you can fix it, and sometimes you can't. Uh, Unfortunately, with me and Jason, it was one where we couldn't fix it, and it's a shame, but sometimes people do things that they shouldn't do, and or they portray themselves as being one type of person when in effect they're not. My experience, while other people's experience with them was pleasant, mine toward the end of it, the last 6 months that I knew him, or it was not. It was not good. But that being said, I certainly didn't want anything bad to happen to him. It's just, it just means that, hey, I don't get along with everybody. Everybody doesn't get along with me. I still care about the person for the most part. Even the ones that do really rude and stupid things. Even those I'll still stay neutral with, or some I'll stay friends with, even if it's even if it's a little bit of a hard thing to do. You still want to stay friends with people, uh, but and if I would and I would have tried, eventually you probably would have been able to talk it out, but unfortunately he just vanished, and I'll have to carry this on. I have to carry this on. All right, the doorbell has rang. That means our guest is here, and I know we're an hour behind, but we'll go ahead and get this party started, and see where it takes us. All right, please welcome in singer-songwriter Brian Elder. Here we go. Ta-da! All right.
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
Good, good. My StreamYard is acting goofy this week again. That's why sorry for the bump there. Welcome in,
Oh, no,
Brian.
thank you. Sorry, so sorry that I was running behind today. I appreciate you being flexible with that.
Yeah, it's I didn't have anything really going on, and so I was like, I'll just sit here and rant for a little bit, and just go ahead and wait. Normally, you're right. Normally, I do have like a 15-minute window, 20-minute window, and generally, if the guest hasn't showed up by that, I pretty much pulled the plug because because it's a lot of times people they want to see the guests, they don't want to see me. So I learned that early on when I first started doing this, and I told people in the pre-show that you were an OG. You're one of the
Oh
original
gosh.
people I interviewed. Yeah,
Oh yes, yes,
yeah. So
yeah,
you're one of the original people I talked to on my blog when
yeah.
I first did. Yep. So I said, yeah, of course we're going to talk to Brian. Um, but when I first started out, I was doing like a half hour gap between me and the guest. Ooh, that got painful because I'm sitting here talking for 30 minutes trying to keep people going until the guest got here, and then eventually I said, well, what I'll do is I'll just cut it in half because I was watching Michael Rosenbaum, and Michael Rosenbaum, that's what he did. He would do half hour just chit chat, and then he would start his show. And I said,
Mm,
I should only do a half hour of just talk. And so that's what I do. So me doing an hour, or me doing basically 45 minutes, I don't do that anymore. Um, but we'll go ahead and do it today. And glad you're here. Um,
yeah. Well,
I
thank
was
you for
just
having
talking. Yeah, I was talking about my old club I booked in. And I told I put down that I said you're come meet Christian singer songwriter Brian Elder. Um, I don't use that term lightly myself, um, but everything I've ever known about you, and we talked before. We emailed each other back then, and we talked about various things. And one of the things I did come across was that I did feel like you were a genuine person of faith. I mean, like you know the difference. You know what your walk is. Um, there's many people that claim that, but their actions, their actions, you can see by their actions that they may say they're one thing, but they're really not.
me. Yeah,
I've always got that impression with you that your faith is the most important thing in your life. And I was glad to promote this show as saying, you were a Christian singer-songwriter, because I don't get a chance to talk to very many. And
yeah.
I'm glad that I'm able to today. I'm glad that you're here tonight.
Well, thank you.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it is the most important thing to me. Is I mean, my faith, my walk with Jesus. But I mean, I gotta be honest too. Like, because I don't ever want anybody to you know, to question themselves or compare themselves to other people too. Is like, I mean, I'm humanly flesh as well, and man, I have my own struggles, and I have my own, my own like battles and stuff where it's like, where I might battle depression, anxiety, or something, or my flesh might try to win over my spirit and stuff. And so, I know that's why I was actually late, is because we had a life group today at our church, and so we ran a little over and stuff. And but like that's yeah, I mean, that's what I want more than anything is my relationship with Jesus. I mean, it's just really important to me, and it's been more important to me like definitely the last 5 years of my life. So
what's it like? What's it like as a Christian? What's it like looking at where we're at now in our country? I mean, in your heart of hearts, especially that's one thing about American Christianity. And let's just be honest about this. American Christianity, there's one thing they don't ever really do. They don't ever really read the Bible. They really truly do not. They go based on they're told what to read. It's like the Catholic Church in many ways, where they're told what to read, they're told what to believe. They don't ever sit down. I mean, I don't know anybody in my circle of friends, and I have a big circle. I don't know anybody who has Bible study in their house anymore or goes to Bible study
Oh,
anymore. I don't, you always hear about, like the 3 hour Christians, the ones that go to church at 9 o'clock, come out at 12 and are right back at it at 12:05. Um, as being, but being who you are and what you've seen, I mean, how hard is it for you to look at what's going on in our country and realize that, hey, this is not what God has taught us in the Bible, because you're a Bible reading man. This is not what God wanted for us. This is not biblical. This is not the word of God, or what Jesus taught. How hard is it today to walk in the middle of your own people who are all around you claiming salvation, claiming justification, and inside your heart that they're not practicing, not judging them, but because the Bible says you shall know them by their actions.
mhm.
You're not judging. You're witnessing. Um, how hard is that for you as a Christian to be around people who claim it but don't live it?
Well, I mean, it can be hard, but like you said, that was my first thought is, I mean, I don't try to judge anybody and stuff. I'm not saying that I don't ever, because obviously, I'm flesh too, and I make my mistakes, but I try not to. It's not my place to judge anybody. And I mean, really, God knows our heart. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know anybody else's heart. I don't know what they truly believe, what they truly walk like. It's like that. I mean, you can see different fruits from people, but I mean, I try not to like worry about what other people are doing, even though I do. Because even like comparison, sometimes I'll compare myself to others and stuff too, and that's just our flesh nature. But it's like, um yeah, I mean, like, and I mean, even compare myself in a way like where I'm like, oh man, they're doing better things than I am, or they're doing more, and I don't mean like works as far as like a Christianity, but like just like, man, they're having a great life and stuff. And, right now I'm in a depression mode or something, and those type of things where you compare yourself. But it's like, yeah, it can be hard to, and especially, I mean, this life it's gotten really sad. Like there's
Yes.
a lot of people hurting a lot of people, man. And it's like, it's hard to see, but I don't know, man. I'm trying to like, one of my favorite things is like Peter, and I was talking about this the other day, where like my mother-in-law was saying something about it as well. It's like where Peter was in the boat, and Jesus told him to step out of the boat and stuff. And like the thing that's so awesome about that account is like when Peter started drowning was when he took his eyes off of Jesus. Then he started drowning. But Jesus picked him up right away. He didn't like, let him drown. He picked him up right away and stuff. And so like, man, as hard as it is, that's what I want. That's my desire, is just keep my eyes focused on Jesus. And I don't always do it well. Like I said, I mean, I'm human, and I want to be very transparent and open about that, because I don't want anyone to be like, oh man, he's got it together. Because that's one of the things that I struggle with too, of being like, man, why do all these people have this together and I don't? But like, that's just the thing. I just want to keep focused on Jesus. I don't want to worry about what, other people are doing around me. And not in a sense of like, I want to serve and help them, but like, I don't know.
Well,
I want to keep.
it says, I think in Ezekiel, it mentions about, being on the watchtower, you know,
Mhm.
and it says, it says, if you stay quiet, if you're sitting on the wall there and you stay quiet to what's coming towards you, you're just as, you are going to suffer the same fate. It's those who raise the warning. You have to raise the warning. You have to raise the flag. It's not judging. You're doing what God told you to do. You're a watchman. You're on the watchtower, and it's like you can't. How to stay in quiet save anybody. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's so I mean, as far as I don't want to, I don't want to judge. Nobody wants to judge, but like again, it's like we see what we see. We don't have to judge. I don't have to watch two cars crash in order to know that's an accident. No one has to go in there and tell me, did
Point.
you see that accident? Where of course I did. And then I saw it, and I observed it. I'll tell whoever it needs to be told. I already know that. Um, I just because to me it's like the way our country is now. Good Lord, we sure need those watchmen. We need those spot. We need people on the watchtower, and it just seems to be that people who are in the position, who take the title of Christian, um, again, it's like they don't either live up to what they have no idea what salvation is, which is probably the case. I don't know very many churches that preach that anymore, and much less justification. Um, it just surprises me to see how much hatred is in the church. I mean, we're seeing what we're seeing. People being expelled from our country. Last I looked in the Bible, there wasn't anything in the Bible about us throwing people out of the country that didn't belong there. I never saw that. I mean, Jesus himself was an immigrant. And he was an illegal one. He wasn't. They were running for their lives, much like ours now. And then here they are. In Bethlehem, and having a kid in the manger. The sort of my or in the farm. It reminded me of people doing that here. They're trying to cross the border. They're trying to have a better life. They're trying to stay alive. That's all they were doing. It's all Jesus. I mean, when people forget Joseph and Mary, they were running from a death sentence because Herod had put out that all children underneath, what was it, 5, uh, to be all male children underneath 5 to be slaughtered. So they weren't running they weren't running to just a run. They were running for their lives. And I just it's a sadness to me to see that the church as we know it, the people we know it, they don't know that because they never read it. They don't read that part. They only want to apply one or two scriptures to their whole entire walk, and that defines their Christianity walk as one or two sentences or one or two scriptures. And to me, it's like I feel like a true Christian here in America is very much like Sodom and Gomorrah. There's, here they are saying, well, if only 10 people are saved in the city, we not spare it. Well, there's not 10 people in the city that aren't saved. That's why Sodom and Gomorrah went up in smoke. There was what, 3 people, not probably 3 people that survived that. And it's like our country. I just I feel bad for the people who do claim their salvation because they don't have it. And I'm not judging. It is. He says, "You shall tell them. You shall be able to tell them by their fruits. We'll be able to see what they are by what they do or they don't." And to me, the reason I'm asking you all these questions here now is I want to know how it applies to you and your songwriting, because I listened to passenger on this side passenger. It's a beautiful song,
Thank you.
and I wanted to hit this off like this because I'm just fascinated by it. I just like to talk to someone who can see it through their point through their point of view about what we're going through today and how it applies to their walk, their gift. You being a singer-songwriter, that's a true gift. It's a gift.
Thank you.
Not everybody does it. Nobody can. If everybody could sing as well as you could or play as well as you could, I mean, it'd be a much better place. But the fact of the matter is that we don't. And especially someone who is a Christian singer songwriter, I just feel like you have some great challenges, and I just want to know how you have overcome them because you have continued to put out great music.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stuff that I write, it comes from, sometimes it comes from a place of hurt. I mean, when I talked to you before, I was doing film stuff and I had kind of given up the whole music thing. I wasn't interested in playing music at the time and stuff. And I played music my whole life. That's what I wanted to do. I enjoyed it and I loved doing it. And then I just eventually got tired of it and didn't want to do it anymore. So I gave it up. That's when I went to the film business. And then I just feel in 2019, I started really battling depression and anxiety. It was bad. I was immobile at times where I didn't want to get out of bed. And it was a hard time in my life. And so, I felt like God had led me back to my guitar because I just basically cried out, asking him to give me purpose to, show me what he wanted me to do. I wanted his will for my life and what he wanted me to do. And I felt like he led me back to that. So some of the stuff that I had written, like It'll Be All Right is on the album. And It'll Be All Right was from a place of brokenness that I wrote that song. It was, I initially wrote it in present tense when I wrote that song. Right now it's recorded past tense. But the story behind that is like, I wrote it in present tense of what I was going through in that moment. I feel so broken inside. I don't know how to go on with my life. So full of fear. And I don't know why. And I don't remember what the last word was before I changed it. But then like I had a friend of mine, when I played it for him, he was like, man, you should change it to the past tense. And so I did. And so now it's, used to be broken, was broken inside, didn't know how to go on with my life. So full of fear and I didn't know why. I got into your word, it changed my life. And so, and then the second verse, so full of pain, I didn't know how to so full of pain, I couldn't let go, was hiding behind a smile so it wouldn't show. It was just, it came from a place of brokenness. I was a wreck, man. I just was really struggling, and I, just kept trying to keep my eyes on the Lord, man. And it wasn't an overnight thing. It took me a little while to get through it, and I still have, and when I say I got through it and stuff, I still have my moments where I get low, or I get depressed, or I get, but we're going to have those moments in this life too, because we're in this broken world, but like even David in the Bible in Psalms, he would be like, man, my soul is in anguish. He was like, where, I need you, Lord, where are you? But at the end of that, he's always like, but I trust you, but I know that you are God. I know that you are my shelter. You are my strength, and so some of my songs just came from that brokenness, from broken places. And I mean, Passenger Side's got a whole story behind it. When I went to a coffee shop and I was talking to the lady who owned the coffee shop, and she was telling me how she opened the coffee shop up. And she was telling me that she tried 3 different times when she was in San Antonio and just failed each time because like someone would rent the building out from underneath of her, or just different reasons, nothing that was her fault. And so she said her and her husband moved to Spring Branch, Texas, and she had given that dream up, didn't want to open a coffee shop. And she was telling me that, she saw this building and she was like, you know what, I'm going to go for it again. And so she went to go rent this building and it worked. And so she opened this coffee shop, and the month that she was supposed to open, we had this huge ice storm come through Texas, and it knocked out power and stuff, which we normally don't get. And at that time, she was about to open up the coffee shop. She couldn't. So she had to postpone the opening of the coffee shop. She couldn't promote the place. So she told me she just prayed out to God, be my promoter when I open this place. So she opened it. And the day she opened up, she sold out of everything. So I asked her, I was like, well, what is it you learned from that lesson? Because there are lessons that we take away in life.
Pray for ice.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, she said that she said she took away that, give God control. It's in his timing. And so that's kind of where Passenger Side, that whole song came from me. I got in the car and I started hearing these, these words like I'm in a rat race, drag race, trying to reach the finish line and stuff. And so got home and started writing it. And so, I mean, so they all come from somewhere. I've gotten like either whether it's brokenness or just, seeing God's faithfulness or just, hearing somebody else's story or and things like that's where the songs come from lately. But I got some new stuff I'm working on that hasn't come out, and there are some songs, man, that I that also came from a deep place. So,
you're right. You and I, we met where you were acting, or acting at the time, and I remember it's funny. It's like I've been doing this, been doing this online here. I met a few people, as far as the interview goes. I met a few people, what I remember when you and I first met was you guys were like this. I'm looking back at this and I'm going like, these guys were this tip of the spear. Um, you guys were making westerns. You were doing a western movie, and also a TV show when nobody else was doing it. We were talking about there, going like, man, like who does westerns anymore? Not really. Not really me. And it seems like since I first talked to you up till now, that has changed.
yeah.
I mean, that has really changed. There are so many westerns out there that are either being made, have been made, or are in the process of being made. What can you talk to us a little bit about what you mentioned you're still acting a little bit, but are those projects ever see the fruition of the day?
They did. Well, not all of them. I mean, we did a lot of stuff where we did like short films or PSAs or things like that, or commercials or whatever. But like, and I started writing some films, some screenplays for feature films that there's one I still really want to finish. But with the other one, Death and Compromise, it did. It actually made it to Amazon Prime. So it's a series that came out, and that's but it was like, but you're right, like at the time when we started making it, it was like 2015, and there wasn't any westerns coming out like that, not like it was. And so it was just crazy how right after that it was like, well,
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to see how many are out there. And I've talked to several people who made westerns and as far and released them, and they've been great. And it's like, but back, I guess, back when you and I were talking, nobody really was believing in the western per se. It was just like, now here it is, 6 years later, and there's westerns coming out, everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And
you are still, but you're still writing though.
what's that?
But you're still screenwriting. You're still in it.
Well, here and there. So I don't spend a whole lot. I mean, I still will do some of it, but not like I was then. So I've been like really focused on the music and stuff like that. And so, but yeah, I still enjoy acting, and I saw some casting calls come through recently in my email, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna apply for those. Why not? I haven't done it in a little bit, and I have that one feature which I really do want to finish, and I will finish it one day. I mean, God willing. But yeah, not like I was, but I'm doing more music now, but I still love it, and I'm still open to doing more acting and screenwriting again.
Let's see, our buddy Burt Reynolds, walking in here. Hey, Ernest, how are you? Says, I have a question. Where do you like to write music? I have a friend who writes music in his favorite fast food's parking lot. Yeah, so where do you go for? That's a good. I love I love that question, and I love asking it. Is like, where do you go to write? I mean, what's your favorite place to go to write?
Really, it depends. Should I sign in here or not worry about it? Just answer the questions that you guys have, or do you want me to like? Yeah, if I sign in, I don't need to sign in because I got to type it up, right? So does that work with you guys? I just answer the questions?
Oh no, you just answer the questions verbally. That's
Oh,
fine. No.
okay, awesome. Yeah. So where do I write music? It really depends. Like, I basically I have this room here. This is not my room, what you see on the TV screen. This is just a screen in the background. But I have this is my studio where it's behind me, and it's just has my computer in here. I've got one wall that I've got just panels up on and stuff. And so I usually come in here, and this is my place where I'll just sit here and write. And depends on if something comes to mind. Like if I'm you know just sitting here strumming the guitar and something comes up, or if I'm feeling a certain way and I want to go and just kind of write, I'll do that. I used to like just sometimes I would take my guitar and just go somewhere where I could be alone and write as well. So it really depends on what I have access to. I go to Florida um, May 11th through May 25th. I'll be down there, and so I'm gonna try to like work on finishing some of the songs, and it'll just be in wherever I'm staying at.
Yeah,
I don't know if that answered your question or not.
I know some songwriters, and screenwriters as well. Like they like going to like coffee shops, or they like going inside of bookstores, and anywhere where like I used to write. When I wrote my blog, a lot of times I would go to like a coffee shop. I would go to the farthest corner, and I would sit there so I could see the front door, so I could watch people walk in the store. I wanted to see, I was always inspired by the people walking to and fro. You know, I
Mhm.
I know some people who write in the privacy of their home too, because they like the quietness and what have you. Um, I think either way works. It all depends what works for you. Um,
Yeah.
songwriting, songwriting. I mean, screenwriting to me lends itself to solitary. Or novelist. I see them writing by themselves inside their home, inside their office. But songwriting to me, I always felt like if you're gonna get to write a really good song, you got to be in a public area to do it. Um, because to be inspired by what you watch, life is in motion all the time. And to me, it's like so is music. Music's in motion all the time too. And I think that writing from the outside, watching the people walk to and fro wherever they're at. Whether it doesn't have to be a coffee shop or a restaurant. It could be anywhere outside. But I always felt that you get more creativity, more movement in songs by being outside. Um, Thoughts about that?
Yeah. I mean, you can definitely get inspiration, but I couldn't find myself writing in public places too much. Not with screenplays, yeah, because like you said, you could take a laptop and go sit in a coffee shop and just kind of be in your own little world and write. But like as far as like music and stuff, I have to be in my own place where I can just kind of be vulnerable and be able to just sing, and just be open to some notes might not make it to the right key and all that sort of stuff to kind of just let it flow out. Me personally, unless I'm in like a writing room with other people or something. So that's different. Then you got to be comfortable with the people you're around or you're with to be able to write with them. So
Let's see. I'll go back to the chat here. I see what you did, Donovan. Let's see. Donovan Baker's here saying hello. Sean says, he says, thank you for the answer. See, Donovan says, I try to avoid Instagram because of the nudity. Well, that depends what you're going there for. If you're looking there for new music, yeah, I wouldn't go to Instagram. Though I have to sit there and say that I have found some singer-songwriters from Instagram. I write to a lot of them on there. They boost their ads up, and I'll go through them, and I will reach out and talk to them, see if they want to come onto the show. But I mean, if I'm looking for new music without that, just to listen to new music, I'm not going to Instagram either, Donovan. I'm going to Spotify for me. Um, or type in new music in the year, new bands this year to get an idea of what's going on. But yeah, Instagram is not I 50-50 about finding new music. I think. Let's see. let's see. Then he wants to know, do you listen to Rainbow? Rich, Richie, so I guess he's asking if you listen to rock and roll. Yeah. Do you listen to rock? Bands like I don't even know if you know who Richie Blackmore is. Do you know who Richie Blackmore is?
I know the name, but I couldn't place where he's from, but I've heard the name before.
Rainbow's a great band. Richie's not. The band's great. The band's great. Let's see. And Donovan's poking fun at me about that. Does this guy listen to Rainbow? Doesn't look like it, Donovan. Doesn't look like it. Though I would recommend it. See, I've never heard of this band before. Rainbow or Brian's band. Brian, I put a link to the link to Passenger Side in the description. So if you want to go there, I put a link there to the song, and you can go over there and listen and watch and see the lyrics to the song on Brian's YouTube channel. Let's see. Well, I have no idea what that means, Ernest. Yeah, I have no idea. All right. So let's go. You guys got me. You got yeah, I do believe, yes, I do believe you do have a Spotify. Yes. Yeah.
Apple account, Spotify.
Yeah, Spotify, and you have your own website. I'll be putting that up there too as well. So by all means, let me ask this to the chat, since they're throwing a lot of interesting questions and comments. What about you guys? Do you guys listen to Christian music? I mean, is that something that you guys ever play on your car or online? Do you guys listen to Christian music at all? Who's some of your favorite artists? Yeah, who are and I'm talking about the best that you can. I don't want the ones that are flash and dash, because I mean, you just know. I want to know some really deep down, like, like really that were really truthful. Who do you like? Who's out there that's worthy of listening to, Brian, as far as Christian music goes? Not commercial.
Yeah.
No.
There are some good ones. I don't know if this would be too commercial for you, but there's some that I love, man. I've seen some of these in concert that they're really, really good. I saw Amy Grant, Newsboys, good ones also. Jeremy Camp, I saw him in concert. I got to meet him. He, hands down, is great artist. I love his stuff. Mercy Me, I got to see them live in concert. They're one of my favorites, is Mercy Me. I just think that they just seem like they got good hearts. Their music is so inspiring. It's really good. Another one is Zach Williams. I love Zach Williams. I've seen him in concert. Really good. Those are probably some of my top three. Would be Mercy Me, as far as Christian world, would be Mercy Me, Zach Williams, Jeremy Camp. I
didn't know Amy was still out there. She's still out there singing, Amy Grant.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if she's still out there doing things, but I don't know if she's like releasing anything. But she's you still hear about her a lot. So
yeah, she was big back in the she was big back there and for a while. I think they had like it was a high profile divorce. I can't remember how it went. I think I'm not sure, either her and her husband, either one of them went astray. And but at the time, Amy Grant, I mean, she could do no wrong. She was I mean, she was probably the first premier crossover artist that I can think of, from Christian music to rock, to pop music. But yeah, I don't know her. That's how I remember the name. Let's see. Didn't Trace Atkins do a Christian album?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I know he was in he played a part in the movie I Can Only Imagine, which is about Bart Millard's life from Mercy Me. He did play a role in that.
I've seen Trace in some movies. I've seen trailers for movies, and I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. That's an interesting question. Um,
Yeah,
and as far as I can only imagine. I think I've heard that name of that. I think I've heard the name of that movie too.
it's
I'm
a
just
good
not
movie.
sure. Is it okay?
Yeah,
The,
and sorry, go ahead.
do movies like that? I mean, do movies like that inspire you? I mean, either inspire you both as a songwriter and as a singer. I mean, when you see something like that, does that ever inspire you to find? Do you find yourself writing something along the same lines as songs like theirs, or you just try to keep doing what you're doing on your, like I'm gonna continue to do what's working for me, because it's easy because we see it all the time. Like I was talking about how before you got here, I was talking about how a lot of different artists will come out, like like Garth Brooks or Beyonce or Post Malone or what have you, and they've all walked from one genre and jumped to the other. Maybe they're not making it in that one genre. Like, I'm not a rock and roller, so I'm going to go do country, or I'm a country, but I want to do rock and roll. Um, do do you when you hear a band like that's playing something maybe that's not your genre, do you find yourself wanting to try it? Like, okay, well, I'm more of an acoustic bass guitar, acoustic bass act, but I like what Mercy's doing, Mercy Me's doing with a stand up bass and and two drum sets. I want to get that same sound. Do you find yourself doing that, or do you just stay right in your lane and continue to write what you know?
I'd say a little bit of both because I mean, I definitely get inspired by other artists. 100%. 100%. I get inspired by other artists. I get inspired by movies. I get inspired by their books. Some of these Christian artists have written books, and they just share their testimony, things that they went through, and it's so inspiring to go read those or even listen to them in audiobooks. That's more my thing. Listening to them in audiobooks, man, you can definitely get inspired by it and stuff, and just what the things they went through and stuff like that. But yeah, absolutely inspired when I listen to other artists and stuff. And I try to to still stay with what I'm doing, but I can't say there's not moments that I'm like, man, I wish I had written that song, or like would like to write stuff like this. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely inspired by some of these artists for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. So let's go back to. I'm going to go back to the movies a little bit, because that's what, like I said, that's where you and I first met. And you mentioned some of the movies that did not get made out. I mean, I'm looking at the IMDb list, and I was curious because there's two movies out there that I knew that you were working on very very hard, and one was Showdown on the Brazos. Um, did that
Mm,
did that ever did that ever see the light of day? I mean, that was with Bill Foster. Uh, and you guys were working your ass off for that. You had J.F. Davis, Brent Rock.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so did they ever complete that movie? Because it sounds like to me, I always wanted to know because I always wanted to see it. Did that ever see the light of day?
I'm not sure to be honest with you. I really had like a small part in it. I probably filmed like a day or two, and that was all that I did on that entire thing. I had nothing more to do with it. So I feel like at some point they had to have finished it because they put it in festivals, but I don't know if it was um, just putting certain parts of it in festivals or what they were doing. But yeah, I had a very small part in it.
Uh, so what did you do between between that period of time to getting back into music? I mean, what did you do to keep yourself creatively juiced up? I mean, did you play live during that time? I take it you play live at your church, right?
As far as like during what time?
During the time from the movies, from the first time from 2019, like during COVID time, what did you do to keep
Oh,
yourself? Yeah,
uh,
how did COVID change you and your life around during that time? Was it one of those dark times, or was it a creative time?
Both. So when COVID hit in 20, well, like I was telling you earlier, like in 2019, right before COVID, I started like really understanding that I was battling depression and anxiety and stuff because I really didn't know what I was going through. I just know I was feeling low and I wasn't feeling good. And so during that time, once COVID hit, and at that time, I was still doing some things. I was still doing some acting, but I was also doing character acting too. Like I would dress up as with this company I was working for. I would dress up like Spider-Man or Batman or Stormtrooper or whatever, and we'd go into Dell Children's Hospital or go to like a party or whatever that they had, and we would just try to give the children hope and stuff. And so, and that, I loved doing that. But I was doing that stuff. Once COVID hit, that shut everything down for me. Like there wasn't a lot of filming going on. We couldn't go to Dell Children's Hospital anymore, so a lot of the character acting stopped. I was also, working as a server at a restaurant, just filling in whenever I needed to fill in, and I couldn't do that anymore because just everything had just kind of shut down. Like the restaurants weren't opening up at the time; they were like spacing people apart, and so at that time, I had to get a real job and try to get, well, I mean, I say real job, like the others were real jobs too, but I had to really like get a 9 to 5 job. And so I started working for this company, but I was working from home. And then during that process, was when I started writing songs and everything. So for like about 2 years, probably, I didn't really play anywhere. I'd play for friends. I'd play like if people would come by the house or something, they'd be like, "Hey man, can you play us a song or something?" I would do that. But it was a lot of like writing at that time. I was just writing different songs and just kind of just trying to get in that point, I was just trying to get as close as I could to Jesus. And it was more of that. So yeah, so it was kind of everything shut down, and it was, I feel like I was, I guess, being prepared and just kind of writing.
Let's see. Let's see. Chat is popping tonight. Thank you guys so much. All right. So Hob says he has a question. It says he has a question for you. That's great. Yeah, feel free to drop your questions too if you guys want to.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, because music is getting musicians on here. It's a rare thing. So I really appreciate when you do come and you do share your process. And I love the idea that people came by your house to ask for you to play for them. That must have helped out. As far as your anxiety and depression go, was it more due to creativity, like creativity block, or just life in general, just like when COVID hit and stuff like that, or was it just like what do you think was the basis? Because some people have anxiety and depression, especially creatives, is when they're stifled, when they can't express themselves. It causes that, like I'm like me. Whenever I used to have writer's block, I mean, I'd be sitting here trying to write something and I can't, and it'd be right in the back of my head, but I couldn't translate it to the paper. It's like, and it would just drive me bonkers. Um, so do you feel like that was where it was coming from? Was the your creativity was stifled and it just it hurt?
No, I mean, I don't think it was more of that. It was just, I probably throughout my life had kind of battled depression and didn't realize it, but it hadn't gotten that deep or whatever it's on until that point. Um, but yeah, I think it was more like it was just like thoughts and just different, like, feelings and stuff that had gotten me down and everything. And so it wasn't more of the creative stuff because I still continued to create and it was fine. But yeah, I think it was just more just something that I'd probably battled with before that didn't realize it.
Yeah, because I it sounds like you had clinical depression.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never been diagnosed for it, so I have no
Oh
clue.
my god.
Um,
Clinical depression is something that did you have it? Did you remember the members in your family go through it too? And were
I don't
your other members in your family creatives?
no. I was trying to think. I was like, probably not that not unless it's like anybody further back in my family and stuff, but my immediate family, no.
Now, you were still going to church during this time, so you were still finding peace somewhere, even if it's just for a couple hours at a time, you're still finding some peace and outlet there. Uh, and that must have helped out a lot. I mean, and I can imagine it helped out a lot. Um, did you just is that what really caused you to just take a break from acting? Was the anxiety? I mean, I'm just curious what would I mean, to me, it'd be you telling a guy that you're gonna get a chance to go out there and play cowboy and Indians, and most of the guys are gonna saddle up and say, "Hell yeah!" Um, what do you think it was? Just it's just because I talked to some other, like I said, I mean, I talked to a lot of the guys on that project, and I was just wondering, like, when a movie doesn't go forward, or a project like that doesn't move forward, or a recording doesn't move forward, um, because people, people don't really talk about this too much. They're not nearly as open as you are right now. Um, I mean, it really does affect an artist, doesn't it? When they can't get the creative juice going. Like yes, I'm still writing, but I'm not really liking what I'm writing. I mean, even though it's good that you're writing anything. I mean, you can always go back and redo it, or come back. I mean, as long as you're doing something. Um, and personally, I think your friends coming over there to ask you to play for them, what a healing moment for you and them. I mean, that was a very generous thing that you did.
Well, it was mostly when the people would come over and ask me to play and stuff. It was like I was renting a guest house that was on about 7 acres of land, and so the house that was in front was the owner's house, and so she also had her family next door too. Her grandsons and her son and his wife, stuff like that. And so they would come over like in the property and stuff, and they'd have their friends with them, and they were all like younger and stuff. Her grandkids, they were like in their 20s and stuff, going to college and everything. And they would come over and they'd be like, "Hey man, can you play that new song for my friends and stuff?" So it wasn't like they were coming over to just hang out. They just happened to be there, and it was like, "Hey man, he plays music. He's got a cool song or whatever." So they would ask me to play it. And I'm like, "Well, I haven't finished it yet, but I'll play these words." And I would mumble some of the words if I didn't finish it and stuff. So it was fun. It was pretty neat, but that's where that was more like, you know.
Let's see. Go back to the chat here. My good friend Hobbs is here. It says this question to me, and I guess both of you, who said people don't read the Bible that go to church. I know plenty of people who go to church who quote the Bible. And wants to know where the theory came from. Well, that's interesting, because most people I know that talk that I know do not open the Bible. They don't read the Bible, and a lot of times you can tell that is because they never apply the Bible to their lives. When you do apply to the Bible to their lives, you can see it. You can see when someone does that. Just quoting Bible doesn't do anything. I could quote you Bible from here to tomorrow, but I'm not a Christian, so that doesn't mean anything. I mean, so I could sit there and say I'm a Christian and read the Bible, and that doesn't mean squat. What really means something is when you do read the Bible and you apply it to your life, and then you start seeing it. Then people start seeing it through your actions. So reading the Bible isn't just enough. You have to live it. But how do you live it? You read it. That's how I see it. That's just me. Brian might have something else on that line, but that's how I see it. Let's see.
See.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so I was reading through. Also, I see the next question. I think is like, Brian, I have heard writing a diary helps with depression.
Yeah, I used to have to write. Like I use this show. I use this show at the same time, and this show is my therapy. Because when you and I first met, I told you what happened to my wife, and and I I was I had the same problem as you did, as far as anxiety and depression and grief, and you're always looking for an outlet. For you, music it's a wonderful healer. Music is a wonderful healer. Uh, it has helped so many people. Me, I just wrote. I just, I would get every time I get everything built up. I would listen to music, but I would also write to get everything to come out, to drain the sewer, so to speak. All the dark thoughts, that's what I did and do, I guess. But everybody handles it differently, I guess. Um, let's see. I'm going to catch up on the chat here. It says, you're just curious because half of your family are Christian people and they always quote the Bible to me. Uh, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that, Hobbs. I think there's nothing wrong with that. Let's see. Uh, but how did you determine this? Like I said, the Bible says you shall tell them by their fruits. I mean, it really means that no one has to. There's no direction, as far as, I mean, you see what you see with your own eyes. You don't need anybody to tell you what you're watching. You already know it. You see it, and so you just apply it. You just apply it that way. Kind of a bold statement there. Well, kind of a truthful statement. More important. That's how I look at it. Then people are mentioning going to church. All right, all right. Yeah, it's not. It's just how, it's just, especially in today's world. Today's world is just. So let's talk a little bit about Passenger Side.
Okay.
That's your new record, right? So talk to us about let's talk about the genesis of it. Where did you come up with the idea? Is this your first full album that you released yourself, or have you done other EPs as well?
Okay. Well, first of all, hi to everybody. I see also Steven said, hey. So, hey, Steven. So hi to everybody too. Thank you guys for being here. So it's not the first EP I've done. I've done other stuff in the past. When I was playing music before, I've released a lot of different stuff, full lengths, LPs and EPs. But this is the first Christian EP or first Christian CD I've done since I started playing again. That's what I've been doing. And so before it was just more rock music, and it was just rock music, more like Nickelback, Creed, Three Doors Down type of stuff that I released in the past. The whole concept of this CD came out with Passenger Side because it was one of the first songs that I had played for my father-in-law when I went and played my first church and shared testimonies there. And it was one of his favorite songs, and he had actually put the money to do the CD. So he was like, hey, I just figured, it's a great title for an album, and it was one of his favorite songs, and he was helping produce this things or helping, fund it. So I was like, well, he did fund it. I even helped fund it. He funded it. And I was like, you know what, better way of doing it, just name it Passenger Side. It just came, I don't know, it just was a thing. And I was thinking of the concept of the speedometer going 90 and having that on the front cover, because it's, the chorus is going 90 miles an hour, or going 90 miles my whole life and stuff like that. And so, it just stuck, and everything became a thing for what we wanted to release.
How many songs are on the record?
So the EP has 6 songs on it. Nice. There's an acoustic. It has 5 different songs, but we have an acoustic version of My Wedding Vows, which is I Do, and that's at the end of it. And for a while there was the only place you could get that was on that CD. I didn't release the acoustic version, but recently I actually did release that song.
So how long did it? Where did you record your record at?
I recorded in Chester, Virginia, at Full Circle Music. Great recording studio.
Are you still based in Texas though, right?
No, so I left Texas. There's a whole story behind that I share and stuff. I mean, God led me to Virginia, which is originally where I'm from, and through that whole transition, I'd actually met my wife. We have a 1-year-old baby now. She's 15 months old, and 14 months old. Sorry, and so it's just. Yeah, it's just crazy. So I'm here in Virginia now momentarily, but I travel and stuff in different places. Like I go to Tennessee. I went to Tennessee, I think 3 times last year and played to Nashville, and then Florida once last year, and I'll be going to Florida this month and at about a week and a half, about a week actually. I guess I leave for Florida for 2 weeks. And
Oh,
so
so you're touring then? Are you touring out on venues or are you touring at churches?
depends. Like I do play churches. Um, I play different churches if they call me and bring me in, or if I know a church to reach out to, I'll come in and play. I also do county fairs. I just played Ashland Train Day. I'm playing Strawberry Fair, which is a festival um, over in Ashland as well. In Tennessee, I was doing different things. Like I played a homeless shelter.
Oh,
I played some coffee shops. I played Pumpkin Fest, and then I played the Christmas festival they had there, Dickens of the Christmas Festival. And in Florida, I'll be doing prison ministry, so we're going down to different prisons and playing. So
that's an interesting. What do you feel about it? Have you ever played at prison before?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what's you feeling like playing down in a prison? Where do you, what's it like to play like that? Do you get a lot of people get emotional? Do you a lot of people they
So,
like what they hear? You've been around, to be around some hardcore criminals. It's gotta be an interesting place to be.
what's different than what I thought? Like this will be my third time that I've done this, and so um, I went. Well, this is my fourth time. So this is my third time going to Florida, and I also did two of them in Virginia. It's great, man. It's rewarding. I mean, when we go and play and stuff, there are some people who do get emotional. There's some people that, a lot of people will come up to us and thank us and just ask, for coming down and not forgetting about them and giving them, some inspiration, giving them encouragement and stuff. And I mean, we go in and we play music. And for me personally, like, cause I go with another group, and I go in there and I'll play songs. I'll share where the songs came from and just how God has worked in my life and the things he's led me to do. And it just gives them a lot of encouragement and stuff. And so they have also got these, they can also download some of the songs too, some of the things that they have. So they'll ask us, are your songs on our platforms, or we can get them and stuff? And mine's not yet. I'm trying to get them on the platforms, but the other group that goes, they have those, they have their songs on the platform and stuff. And so it's nice to, it's nice to see. I mean, there was the last time we went in August of last year, was the first time they did any baptisms, water baptisms, since COVID, is what I was told. And there were 75 inmates that got baptized, and it was amazing. So
You it really you really hope you really hope that salvation and will lead to justification, and you hope that they you really do hope that they come out. If it's sort of a catch 22, for like for prisoners, you want them to come out and you want them to rejoin society, and yet at the same time we make society, the coming back into society, we make it really hard for ex-cons. And those like, I can understand the ones that are violent, the ones I can understand people being nervous about that. um but I see a lot of people who do white collar crime. That's one thing about YouTube that they've been doing lately, is they show a lot of these channels of a police at work, like, they're arresting people. They have the cameras on there, and all their channels are everywhere. And you watch some of these people, and you like, there are some people, like one cop was sitting there going, like, I can understand certain people, like, because you always hear about this. You always hear about a cop will reach out, and help out someone who got caught like shoplifting food. Like, they're like, hey, I can understand that. And then you watch the other ones who, they're out there for themselves. And you just, and you just sort of wish that when they come out of the jail, the first time they go to jail or come out of it, you really hope that they come out with a whole different attitude. Like, it's like being locked up, having handcuffs on. I'm not sure if you ever had handcuffs on. My dad, Lou, he was a cop, and I had handcuffs on when I was small. I never forgotten it. I've never forgotten that feel, and it's a horrible feeling to know that you can't move, your freedom's taken away. as soon as they cuff you, you're gone. Your freedom is gone. And the first time that happened, and you really hope that the first time that happens to somebody, they're inside their brain, whatever drove them to that point in time, you really hope that it's like, man, I don't ever want to do this again. I don't ever want that feeling. Um, Now, I was curious as a promoter myself. I'm just curious. How do churches and like prison shows? How do you get it called for? And if you don't mind, without going into detail, but how do they compensate you? Do you for your time? I mean, because it's not the normal booking. It's not your booking, at a club or festival or anything else like that. It's a different way. How do artists get compensated playing in churches or prisons?
Well, prisons we don't get compensated for. So what happens is, for me personally, I go with a nonprofit organization that goes down there, and so I raise money for my trip, kind of like almost like a missions. I raise money for the trip and stuff, and I raise the money through them. Some people donate directly to me or to my company, but I'm not a nonprofit, so there's not a tax write off there. Where if you go through nonprofit, then it's a deduction for the giving and stuff, the giving statements that they give you and everything. So I raise money through them for that trips, and as far as churches go, and then whether I meet the goal or not, I still go. But I've thank the Lord, I've reached the goal the other times. This one, I'm still like I'm at about 48. It might even be a little bit more than 48% of the goal right now with a week left. So, but I mean, either way, I still go. Churches, it just depends. I mean, some churches will they'll just pay you outright a certain price. Other ones will do like a love offering and stuff, where they will just collect the love offering for whenever I come in to speak or just share and play music and stuff. So
I got more questions here. Someone said, "So change." I'm not avoiding you guys. Let me see what's going on here. See, Donovan asked, Are you a Scientologist, Hobbs?" That's a good. I don't know if Hobbs is a Scientologist. I don't know. That's an interesting question. I like Tom Cruise. I don't think that makes me a Scientologist. I don't know. Says, no. So Hobbs is sitting there saying he's not a Scientologist. Okay, I sort of knew that. See, and
here's
yeah,
thought.
Bert mentioned Brian. I heard writing diary helps with depression. That it worked for me.
It
Uh,
does.
Let's see. Hobbs still asking about me about the Bible. Hobbs, how did you determine this? Did you ask them? You just can't base things on how people act all the time. Well, that's what we do that every single day. We base our things on what we watch. That's we that's you and I and everybody else does it every day. Um, let's see. Let's see. Ernest says he goes to church. All right. He's from the South. Okay, church is very important in the South. Donovan says he goes to church in Rockford.
Where's
I
Rock?
think it's Illinois, Rockford, Illinois.
Well,
Uh,
if you guys have a church that you want me to come play, just go to the website and send me a message, and we'll see if we can set it up.
yeah,
So
yeah. Virginia seems to be it seems like a beautiful country. I mean, are you going to use that as your base of operations, or do you see yourself going back to Texas?
probably not back to Texas. My wife and I want to move to Tennessee when the timing is right, and I mean, and it really is. We're trying to just kind of stay open to where the Lord leads us. So, but that's where we want to be. But we also, like I said, we have a 14-year-old baby girl, and we love being here around family because her family and my family both are here in Virginia.
Mhm.
So we love being around family as well, and just getting a chance for them to they help out a lot, and it's just a great thing to be around. So
I like to go to Virginia myself. I would love to visit the state. Let's see. The people are still talking about church. Let's see. Uh, Brian, keep doing what you're doing, and good luck with your depression. I can speak from experience that it doesn't go away, and writing definitely helps. Yep.
Thanks.
Thanks, Hobbs. Thanks, Hobbs. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Hobbs owes me $5 on for a Power Ranger VHS. Oh boy, here we go. We're the first flying in the chat now. Let me see. Brian, Brian? Did you have any music Christian influences growing up? Did you have any influences? Petra, DC Talk, Carmen, Sweet, any of those?
Um,
John Tesh.
so I remember hearing Striper. They're kind of like Petra when I was growing up. But when I was growing up, I was listening to a lot of I listened to Poison and Motley Crue
Sniper.
and Aerosmith and things like that when I was growing up, and Nickelback and Creed, Three Doors Down, and all that. So, and even country music and stuff. And so, which I still listen to country music. I like country music, and
What are you? Real quick? What's your opinion about the state of country music today? Do you think it's country music, or do you think it's more pop music?
I think it depends on the artist, because there's still a lot of artists who are still putting out true Christian, country music. But I like it all, though. I even like the pop country music. I like music.
Yeah.
I even listen to I like some of the oldies and some classic stuff. My wife and I love going to the symphony and listening to John Williams scores and stuff. I love music.
I was gonna say you better not name any bands from the 80s or 90s, or we're gonna have a problem. First time classic. I remember the first time I was listening to radio, and the DJ came out there and said, "Okay, there's gonna be you get ready for this classic. There's gonna be a tour," and they named 3 bands that I booked, and I'm going like, when the hell did when the hell when the hell did Everclear and Eve 6 and Maroon 5 suddenly become classic rock? What? That was during my time.
Yeah.
People are sitting there going like, I remember the 70s and 80s. That was the best time back in the old days. It's like, how old do you think I am? Oh my God. All right. Oh, okay. Here's a good question from Donovan. Are you open to playing other genres? Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you played other music other than straight rock. You played country and you played rock. Had you ever tried anything else as far as like folk rock or ska or
Not so much. I mean, I'm sure back in the day, I wrote some stuff that was like punk rock or whatever, or I mean, very little of it though. And I just wrote to write, but a lot of stuff that I really write now is rock and country more so than anything else. It's like Christian rock, Christian country. Well, I mean, I have a couple of country songs that I wrote that are just like one of the country songs I wrote is my wedding vows for my wife. And then I have another one that's not finished. Well, I mean, it's finished, it's not recorded yet, called Wouldn't Be Me and You. And that's written for my wife. And it's more of a country song as well. But yeah.
How I mean, because you're since you record and put out music on yourself, and you put out on CDs. I'm just curious, do CDs still sell for you? I mean, as an independent artist, do they are people still buying CDs? Or because over in like in films, they're basically a lot of them are now, like especially independent films, if they don't, they're now just going straight from filming to streamers. It's very hard to get physical media release as far as a movie goes. Do you find the same going along with music? Are you able to sell hard copies of your EP, or do you depend on streaming like Spotify or SoundCamp to generate income and listens?
Yeah, a lot of stuff has gone more digital. So CDs, like physical copies of CDs, are harder to sell. I have sold some. I sell them more so at events that I play than anything else. Like I have T-shirts, I have guitar picks that have my logo and Joshua 19 on it, and then I have one poster, and then I have CDs. That's really the extent of my merch that I have. But like the CDs, the shirts go really well. The guitar picks go really well, and even the posters go well. But like the CDs, it's the events we do okay with them, but it's not like the T-shirts. And I've sold some on the website as well because the merch is on the website too, but not like it was back in the day. Back in the day, that's what you bought with CDs or vinyl or something. And I think vinyl is even coming back now, and it's even better than the CDs. But I haven't done vinyl yet, so with it.
Well, hopefully, if do you have any plans for a future LP? I mean, are you going to go ahead and try that challenge, or maybe
Yeah.
do another EP first?
No, I've got some other songs that I want to definitely record, and a lot of people are not even necessarily going to like EPs and LPs anymore. A lot of people are just releasing singles on Spotify and Apple. You see a lot of singles getting released.
Right. It's sort of weird how that's happened. Like back in the '50s, that's what bands used to tour on. They used to tour on a single. And they get up in all those buses and they go around and do the barnstorming down in the South and the Midwest and play out the record. The one single, maybe two, and then get the eight or 10 acts in there, and then they come up there, do their hit, and then bundle everybody up and keep going. And then we got the LPs and the EPs, and people were buying them, and then here we are. In today's world, people are now releasing just singles. They won't do an LP because there's no guarantee that people will pay for an LP. Though I have to sit there and say that I can understand that because LPs are expensive these days. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
paying, I used to pay 15, 19, $20 for an LP. Now they're like, $60, $70. It's just absolutely crazy. All right. So I'm gonna ask you guys for one more round of questions. If you guys have questions before we let Brian go for the evening. Um, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, okay. Yep. Let's see. Now they're exchanging. I guess they're doing vows now. Yeah. Let's see. Sean says his wedding vows were written from a poem I wrote. All right. That's awesome. All right. See, now they're still asking for VHS tapes from Hobbs. Okay. You guys are killing me with that. And the Scientology question. I did not plan that. I know he's probably sitting there going there. You told them to ask me that. I did not. I promise you. But it's a funny question. Um, yeah, Scientology. That's a weird shit right there. That's all I gotta say. Weird. All right. We have hit our button. We're gonna go ahead and thank Brian for coming out and hanging out with us. It was a lot of fun. Um, I definitely
Yeah.
when we have a little when we get back to our regular time, I'm gonna have you come back our regular time. And when you do, I'm gonna definitely have you drop 2 or 3 songs off.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
definitely plan on doing that. But we'll do that next time, and it'll be sooner than later. Let me tell you. Um, we'll come back and catch up with you during the summertime when you're out there playing, and get some songs, including some new songs, hopefully. Um,
Yes.
of course, they'll all be new to us. Again, thank you for coming out and hanging out with us. I appreciate it so much, and also for tackling some tough questions. Um,
Yeah.
it's going to be, yeah. I mean, I really do appreciate that greatly. And I want to thank the chat tonight again. You guys have tearing it up. You guys,
Yes.
you
Thank
guys
you
have
guys.
me on. You guys definitely have my on my heels. Um, Tonight. Our good friend Hobbs and Donovan and Ernest and our good buddy Sean. Yeah, I know who you are now, Sean. Um, thank you guys all for coming out and hanging out with us and making it very entertaining tonight. We'll be back here. We'll be back here next Monday. Next Monday, we'll be back with Tim and Tom Gross from Gross Fest, which is a horror convention based in Pittsburgh, PA, and we'll be talking with them next Monday. Next Tuesday, we'll be talking with actor Robert Lasardo, who filmed and who stars and directed and produced American Trash. Very gritty movie. Very gritty movie. Powerful. I watched it. It's a powerful movie. Robert should be very proud of it. We're going to be getting into it too with Robert for sure, because he has a lot to say, and I'm looking forward to talking to him. And then, of course, on Wednesday we have the mighty Joe Leone and Remy Eva from Greet Your Demons. I know. See, look at all this. Greet Your Demons, American Trash, and Greet Your Demons. The filmmakers, and we'll be here next week. And stay right where you're at, Brian. I'm going to say goodnight to the chat. We'll leave you here. Oh, don't
Okay.
forget about 10:15, 10 maybe 10:30. I'm not sure if he's still here or not, but the Midnight Hour will be playing tonight. That is hosted by our good friend Hobbs Horror. He'll be here later on tonight on his channel, Hobbs Horror. Going over there and throw some love his way. I'll be over there to ask some questions. I don't know what I'll be asking him, but I'll be asking him some questions. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for everything. Peace. Okay. I always have to take that off before I go tonight.